growing up with the horses around you, you can either go one way or the other. You either become absorbed by it or you reject it. And I had both my grandfathers trained on both sides of the family, both uncles on either side of the family. My father trained at Kingsclear before I did, so I didn't really want to do anything else. And the opportunity to train somewhere like here was always there. So it sort of totally consumed me from a young age. I've been lucky enough to have trained over 1,000 winners and some pretty big ones as well across the world. We've always travelled the horses internationally if we can for the big prize money. And probably my favourite moment was winning a big race in Australia called the McKinnon Stakes, a Group 1, a very important race in Australia, with a homebred horse that my mother had bred at Kingsclear. The horse had been trained at Kingsclear all its life, bred here, and it was the pinnacle of her achievements as a breeder, and probably my favourite moment as a trainer so far. The general day-to-day would be, for me, is supervising the horses out of exercise, listening to the feedback from the riders, and then there's a little bit of office work involved as well, where we try and create an agenda for each horse in terms of what its racing campaign might be. And obviously communication with the people who own the horse. At the end of the day, they're paying me to train their horse, and they're entitled to a little bit of feedback. If we're not evening racing, I'll be at home for evening stables, which is when everyone comes back to work between the hours of 4 and 6 to muck out the horses, to groom them. It's an opportunity for the head lads to try and identify any problems there might be. It's much easier if you're having winners. You sort of fly through it.
My day consists of getting up around about 4:30 each morning, coming and feed around my 2 yards, which is 53 horses. So they're fed and done by about 5:15. I'm not back onto the yard until about 6:30 when I start getting things ready for first lot to get ready to pull out for 7:10. And then we have 5 lots through the day with a break for breakfast. And then we're usually done for around about 12:30 at the end of the morning. So a horse going to the races, they'll get their early morning feed, same time as normal. And then depending on what time they go racing, they might have a light exercise before they go. If not, if they don't have an exercise before they go, they'll come up to the top yard up here, where we have a set of scales. We weigh every horse before it goes to the races, to compare it with its last running weight, and they have a quick jog up to make sure they're sound and that there's no lameness issues, and then they'll be made ready to go racing, brushed, tidied up, travelling boots on, and then they'll head off to the races. So when we get in on the night, we come in, make sure they're alright, have a quick check of their legs, make sure there's no cuts, scrapes, any unnecessary heat or swelling. And then once we're happy that the legs are alright and that they don't escape, we'll just check their feed manger and make sure they've eaten their food, which she has, and their water. That's good cow. The yard itself it's all self-contained. We've got an indoor school, which is a furlong round, which is where we do our trotting exercise before we go out to canter. Then we head off outside and we have another trot down to what we call the locks on gallop, which is where we canter pretty much every day. It's a 4 furlongs, slightly uphill, and Mondays we do 1 canter up there, Tuesdays we do 2 canters, and then Wednesdays are a work morning, so Wednesdays are a little bit different. We either work up the locks on or they might go up the top to the side glance gallop, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday follows the same routine. Thursday 1 canter, Friday 2 canters, Saturday gallop. The yard's got a very good reputation for bringing apprentices along, and the apprentices doing very well out of here because, you know, they get opportunities, they get used, and if they're good enough, they end up being Champion Apprentice, they end up coming out. You know, O'Sheen, Murphy, David Probert, jockeys like that have come through the system here. The next batch of young wannabe jockeys, it shows to them that if they've got the right hunger and the right determination, that they'll do it, they'll get there.
It started when I was 6 years old and I went down to a riding out school where Ray Goldstein, who's an ex-jump jockey, he was the instructor, and I had one lesson with him, and after that lesson he said, "Oh, I think you could become a jockey," and he said to my parents, "I think your son will be good enough to be a jockey one day." I ended up falling in love with horses, and I used to be itching after school to get back down the yard and ride out a few horses, and at weekends all I'd do is go down the yard and, you know, help look after them and ride the horses out. This yard has been very special to me and very significant on how I've got on in my career, and I think the whole way that Mr. and Mrs. Balding run the operation is just lengths better than anywhere else, any other trainers that I've ridden out for apprentices.
Jason's just finished 2018 as Champion Apprentice, which is a great achievement. Rode almost 100 winners this year, and he follows a long line of jockeys who we're very proud to have had a hand to play in their career.
I want to be one of the best, you know. I want to be known as one of the best. I want to be at the top of my game, and look, I've had a very special season and it's been unbelievable. It's going to be hard to top. The plan is just to ride as many winners as I can in the big races as well, and I think my dream one day would be to win the Dubai World Cup.
I've been doing the horses here in Kings here now for about 24 years, and I've got Abby, my apprentice, at the moment, and she's in her 3rd year, so she will do her diploma in November next year. So the apprentice comes to stay with me, and I show them basically how to do the job, and then they go to college for 3 weeks twice a year usually, and at the end of it then they do their diploma.
Starting at the heels and working your way forward on each side, so you don't damage it. But so I just want to rasp it nice and level. So I'm just basically taking the excess sole out and checking for any bruise marks, or trim the frog back.
The job itself hasn't changed much in the method we use. There's been some advances in using acrylics and different methods of doing remedial shearing with foot issues, but the general nailing on of steel and aluminium to the horse's foot has been going on for a long time. Foot balance is probably the most important thing, and if your foot balance is right, then it's fitting a shoe on there symmetrical as possible. I've ridden horses most of my life, and it just becomes a way of life. You know, the passion is there, and you just, I don't know, you just get attracted to it, and there's just a great buzz around it.
The love of horses kept me in racing and got me to where I am now.
I love racing because you just can't describe the feeling of it when you win a race, a big race.
It is a sport that seems to attract every member of the social spectrum. It can never be mastered, and long may it continue.